You've got your crystals, you've got your army diet, you've got your silent meditation retreat, please be quiet. You've got your oil pulling bullet journal juicing cacao. Come sit and talk about it, nothing is a sacred cow. Tell us all about the whoa that you do.
Hey, I'm Mary Lynn Rajskub.
And I'm Jeffrey J.
We're comedians,
Writers,
friends,
actors.
fellow woo
I
correspondents,
thought you were going to say felons.
felons. I wish. Do you ever wish you were a criminal? Have you ever committed a felony? I guess we'll start there. Let's
That's
start
a
there.
great one. Have you ever committed? No, I have not committed a felony.
Do you wish you had?
No, prison is scary. I have a whole joke about how scared
Yeah,
I
you
am
sure
of
do.
prison.
I was teeing you up for your joke.
Was
You
you?
can go into material.
I feel self-conscious about doing stage material on a podcast.
I know. That's what is so
It's-
funny about it.
I
Because we don't go there.
It's
Although
a-
I did say that joke I was working on. So
Yeah.
I debuted it on a few podcasts ago.
Ooh, yes, but that's like when you're in the working. I've been doing that joke for so long. I don't think I could do it anecdote style.
I see.
It's like that one's like so old that it's be like now it's.
That's an interesting
formatted for
point,
the
though.
stage.
Comedy is so different nowadays. Like it was expected that you say your bits naturally, and now it's like, why would I do that? Why would I not just be natural?
Yeah.
How can I then switch and it feels inauthentic, even though it's not at all on stage? It works for stand-up beautifully because you're performing things again. You know, and I just had that experience. Hey guys, let me introduce the podcast first. And then, welcome to that Woo You Do, the podcast where we talk about what woos you do in your life. Woo woo meaning
Magical?
spiritual,
Yeah.
magical,
Mm-hmm.
woo woo.
This is great. I'm glad that it only took us till however
up the-
many episodes.
I think the part of the reason why we are both, we never talked about it, drawn to that woo you do, there's a little connotation to, oh, that's woo woo, that it's negative.
Yeah.
And that's why this is a very special podcast, because we believe in it, but we also don't take it super seriously.
Yeah.
And we kind of don't believe in it. And then we do again.
Yeah. And
Anything woo woo. And also what is the definition of woo woo? Literally. And then what is your definition of what you do in your life?
well, first of all, like I think we've gotten to this definition without ever having read it. Unconventional beliefs regarded as having little or no scientific basis, especially those regarding to spirituality, mysticism, or alternative medicine. Love this. Also, I think I lean way more into just loving woo-woo stuff, but then I just don't like committing to things. And so when someone says, like, they push back on it, then here's what it is. I love hearing about someone's beliefs and choosing to believe that with them in that moment. Because you get to hear.
That is called being a hypocrite and a bad friend. I'm kidding.
You've seen me do it too when we were like riding in the car on our last tour. Like someone will start talking about it and I will be like, yes, tell me more. Oh, and tell me more about that.
What car ride? Who was the guy?
Oh gosh, which one was it?
With Vivian?
Vivian was great, but we actually agreed with her.
Oh, yeah.
There was another guy.
Wait, it was a guy in the hotel, and I thought you guys were buddies, and then we walked away, and you just said, I was just wanted to let him keep going on and see what he would say. Creating a space for someone, I do that too. Like
to reveal how misogynistic he was.
Yeah.
This man.
And I thought they were buddies, and then we walked away, and Jeff's like, oh. So misogynistic. And I was like, I hated that guy from the get. I thought you guys were buddies and I was going to rethink it.
No, because if it is if I think I might be friends with that person, then I'll be very, very real. But if it is an interaction in which I know that I will be moving on from that interaction and there's no chance that we're going to, like a hotel person, checkout person, or like a singular Uber, then I will just allow them to tell me their story and I will get to live in their world. And then I come away with it knowing something that I didn't know before. With him, it was that he was a misogynist and that there was a mermaid bar in town.
That was pretty good information. And that all the mermaids were sluts
Yeah.
who wouldn't go out with him. It's like, dude, you just are mad that they're not paying you attention and you hate women.
Yeah.
So when I checked in, he looked at my ID, and which is also, by the way, I am shocked the level of hotels. Not to surprise you, some of them aren't 5-star, but the level of not training in customer service. He looked at my ID, goes, L.A. I don't like it there. Too many fake people. Like, did I ask you? Also, that's some sort of breach.
Yeah.
Like, check my identity, but don't comment on it
On
or
your address.
memorize it.
Yeah.
How about where's my warm cookie? Like, stop. But then I did. I just egged him on. I said, "Oh, really? What's so fake about it?" Because it's like, dude, that's you.
Yeah.
I've
And he
lived
could
here for
not.
30 years, and yes, I understand what you're saying to a certain degree. You know, it's like, are there a lot of attention-seeking people trying to impress other people? You know, we talked about that before the pod of like looking somewhere else while you're with the person trying to get ahead. But, you know, that's also what you love about it here. It to a certain extent, it is. I still meet people to this day, even with the internet, who are like, yeah, just moved to LA to like make it happen. It is a bit of an industry town. And that's kind of what makes it cool. You can always not hang out places and be around those people, but you can talk to screenwriters and directors and people that are trying to make their dreams come true. And that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. You can.
Dude. Like, so that's on you.
Yeah. It sounded like there was a little
You can
bit
talk
of-
to male models. Speaking of committing, I met a guy who was a model for what is it called? Menspandex.com.
Spandexman.com.
Oh my God. Okay.
I tried to find it. I
tried to commit and I forgot what it's called. Spandex.
I think it's defunct at this point.
Oh no, you've been wiped from the internet. So before we started this podcast, we were talking about modeling because I want to model for Fashion Brand Company. Shout out this jacket that I'm wearing.
That's really great.
You guys don't know that I exist, but I know that you exist, and please let me model for you. We were talking about modeling, and Rob said, I was a model once.
Once.
And it was for
Spandexman.com, which is now a parked website at GoDaddy.com. But this was when I was living in New York.
Okay.
I was going to NYU. I had no money. For a Halloween costume, I wanted to go as Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like a website where you could like get a ton of different, like, they had like superhero type spandex suits, you know, so if you wanted like a Superman or a Batman or something like that, or sex spandex suits, you know, like the full head,
Oh.
you know what I'm talking about, the morph suits, you know?
Yeah.
What I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. They sold all those things, and they weren't like super expensive, but they were like $120 for like a nice one.
Wow.
You know?
I watched a few episodes of American Horror Story, and there's
Yes.
that guy on there.
Yeah.
Exactly. They all look like that.
Oh, they
kind of thing.
do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the guy offered to give me the Spider-Man spandex suit for free if he could take some pictures of me in the spandex suit.
Wow.
Now, it covers your face, so like you could not tell
Yeah.
that it was me or anything like that. So I was like, yeah, sure, all right.
Yeah.
I could barely afford this anyway. So I did that, and then I was on the website for a while, I think. But now it's unfortunately defunct.
Oh my God!
It's now been lost to time.
Probably because he was trading boys' pictures
Yes.
for the spandex.
He was
can't
asking
really make a big
20-year-old
living doing that. Paying 19-year-olds to get dressed up in spandex.
That is correct.
In trade.
Did you feel like a dirty little piece of meat?
No, I was just very naive, and I was just like, "Fuck, free spandex suit? Fuck yeah!"
I don't blame you.
Dude, I'd do it.
I was into
Hell yeah.
I do. I think we all get ourselves into dangerous situations in this room.
We sure do.
Yeah.
We are not the ones to go to for safety tips. Just, you know.
I mean, I don't anymore, besides dating a white supremacist. I guess that's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, but you didn't know you were dating that white supremacist.
That was misleading of
So,
me. No, I went into it with all intentions. Or a naivete, you could say.
True.
So maybe I am still living a dangerous lifestyle.
It's crazy to be like at 19 you literally can't even legally drink. You know what I mean? So like you're living in New York, and it's like
Crazy.
it kind of pushes you to like do more risky things. I wouldn't say like dangerous necessarily, but like you put yourself in scenarios where it's very socially acceptable for you to like sneak into a bar or sneak into a venue or something like that, and so it creates a scenario where when people kind of do stuff a little bit outside of like the legal necessarily like what is normal, you don't, it doesn't raise those red flags.
That's a really good point. The ages of like, let's say 18 to 22, where it's just real squirrely.
Everything should just be 18.
Yeah.
Driving, drinking.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think everything should just
Voting.
be 18 for like if it comes to like things like drinking, like if you can be in the Army, I think you should be able to do everything that is allowed under the United States. I think
Yeah,
you should
because
be able to do
otherwise
all
your
the
college
drugs.
years are just like this weird. It's like, okay, well, what am I? An adult or a kid or just this weird gray area?
Yeah.
It should just be like, if you're going to be out in the world, you're responsible
Yeah,
for yourself and what you're doing.
I agree with that too. I think the whole point is that if you're gonna claim adulthood in this many ways, then they should have adulthood allowed in all ways and stuff. And I think if honestly, for me, it's mostly the Army. If you can serve your country, then you should be able to do any drug. I'm sorry, you just should. You can't say someone is old enough to die and not old enough to smoke pot.
Great point.
Boom. Are we gonna do a high five every episode? Because if we don't, like, I'm really committed to this now.
I like it when you get on there. I'm not even gonna. I'm not gonna call it a soapbox because that was like, I love that stand that you took. That
Took
belief
a
that
real
you have.
stand. We have some beliefs. Also, okay, so we went on tour. Which we talked
Oh
a
yeah,
little bit about.
I felt the need to say at the beginning of the podcast what this podcast was. For our new listeners, why don't you go ahead and like and subscribe and give us a 5-star review?
Yeah.
This is a meandering, fun-loving, freewheeling podcast, and if you don't like that, then just get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
But what we started saying was talking about being on the road, and it was about. I was thinking about, because I just taped a special. And then immediately going to Utah to do headlining shows. And it's such a weird muscle to try to fit new material into an hour that I just did in front of a new audience. And that club was really interesting. It was kind of a fire club because the people that were in there, you could feel the tension of either ex-Mormon or not serious Mormon, or like Mormons that are willing to go out into a bar at night knowing that they're going to get comedians from out of town that are just going to really take it there. And the very first show I did there, I could not help but just, the more I mentioned it, the more it just kept like coming out of my mouth. Now, in stand-up, there are always moments of interaction and improvisation, but then it's like getting back on the energy track, and I couldn't help but do, because at the very beginning we were talking about established bits, and that's like the beauty of stand-up is because it is in the moment, but then you're also kind of riding this wave of tried and true, and it's really hard to insert things that aren't worked out. So it was a really interesting experience to go from, I just taped this special. Now I can mess around for an hour. But is like, but you could also do that 10 minutes and have the laughter be like so constant and pump it up. And I think that's the difference between live stand-up is just when you're in that sweet, sweet spot. And you work to get there.
Yeah.
You do so many shows on the road and so many different energies to get you into that sweet zone for that particular those particular jokes that you're constructing.
And I think one of the things that's so cool with us too, we have so many similarities, and when it comes to art, and we're also so very different, which is so lovely. But being able to come off the high of that special and both of us going like, all right, we're pushing each other to do our new jokes was so much fun. And it was like we would get off stage and just look at the other person. It would be like this look of like, yeah, you did it. Oh, you squeezed that in there, or you did this, or like I would come back to like a little note about something that I was trying to work on that's like felt like it was so dumb in the moment, but I'm trying a new thing. It was electric, and it felt different. Working on those jokes felt different for both of us. They didn't feel like new jokes, but they were. It's crazy.
Yeah, you were killing it.
You were killing it too. It was like, man. And then we had the gift of being in a town. This was Provo, Utah. And I don't think either of us realized what we were walking into. I never think about things ahead of time. That you're going to a place that is so incredibly, first of all, gorgeous, but so Mormon.
I thought about it going into it.
You did?
Yeah, not in a way that I was prepared for it, but I just, in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, it's going to be, because I had done this other club years ago in Salt Lake. But yeah, we knew we were going to a college town, and I assumed that, and rightfully so, the guy that we met who owned the club, immediately, Jeffrey and I found the green room, totally different experience. And again, from being on the road, all these like funky experiences where you're like, is there any food within like a 20-mile radius? Like, we're going to be at your club for like 6 hours. Is there any way to, or just...
And this guy just had everything down. It was run like a well-oiled machine. This club, it was called Boxcar, and I hope this thing is the most massive success.
Yeah, he's great and really dialed in and understands comedy, but it's almost like, working on a TV show and those executives that are clearly the business person, but they're so dialed into like the creative person that there's just a shorthand and an understanding, and your roles. Like, he really knows and seems to have a love for running the club. But between him and our opener, who is this really nice guy, Adam Browd, one of the first things we both asked them was, are you Mormon?
Yeah.
And they both were ex-Mormon in very different ways.
And it was so cool. And like, that's why I think we want to get into like the idea of like, I really do think that religion is a woo-woo. I think that's really what it is. And it can be so good for you depending on what you're in. And it also can be a cult.
Religion is the ultimate magical thinking.
It is. It is. And I don't think that that's necessarily bad for you. And if you are a religious person in one way or another, if there's not hate built into it, I have no problem with your woo. In fact, invite me. I'd love to go to the potluck. I'd love to sing. Hold
Yeah, now that
hands.
we've made this correlation, I think now I understand why I am sort of interested in people's religions. But yeah, if it's a good experience that's making you better in the world.
Yes. And when we asked, like, especially Adam, because I was so curious, both of us are so, like, just naturally curious people about humans. I think that's why we get along so well. We will get into a room with somebody and just bam, 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 be asking them questions. 'Cause we just love the experience. And when we asked Adam, why did you leave? What was the thing? And he said, oh, other than the fact that it's demonstrably false, and I was tired of living a lie. I was like, whoa. He was not screwing around. He did not have a like, well, I didn't think about he just was like, I've been living in this. And he said he called it a cult, which was.
And then Brandon made a correlation between, I can't remember his exact language, the money of it, that it's all at the end of the day a business, which we're too like incredibly indicting, deep. Like, if you want to talk religion, talk to somebody who was born into it, and I mean, they were ready, and here are the reasons
lost
why.
Their families and stuff like that because they left Mormonism, and then you're sending away your child for a mission trip.
And the sexuality is just like buried and taboo, and
I mean, it is crazy. And they said it's one of the richest religions. It's crazy. So it's fascinating to me.
We got on the topic of like a Unitarian church, and it made me laugh because it's like, oh yeah, I've never seen a super a cathedral for a Unitarian church.
No.
Just like a bare bones with like little ribbons tied.
Yes.
It's like, oh, there's a religion where that's not completely tied to money and indoctrination and power.
That's the funny. My entire family is Unitarian, by the way, and that is the most hilarious, perfect description of like it's always like a sad room, but it's like filled with arts and crafts.
Yeah.
And there's like an unkept yard and stuff, and a giant like parking lot, and there's always a potluck after Unitarians. And Unitarians, they always have they're cool with gay marriage. They always have a great lesson, and they're less about God and more about like, you know what, we should do better. And that's that. Last time I went to a Unitarian church, their whole theme was forgive yourself now and try to do better today. And I was like, yes, I will. And then we held hands and we sang, and old ladies gave me freaking casserole. It was amazing.
Ooh. So
that's the other side of it, and that's why I think
I mean, I said on stage, well, except for the last show, we don't need to discuss that, but I said we had 3 absolutely electric shows, and then the last show that was a little bit trying.
Yeah.
But, sometimes tough love is needed
Just
for
a little
some
work.
audience members. So we're learning.
Yeah.
We're learning. We're growing.
Couple drunks, a couple judgy Mormons. It was interesting.
But for the most part, and I really meant it, like I love it here. I would do a mini tour in Utah because there is like a built-in tension, and there are people that I don't know, I think really are coming from this being born into this thing that's steeped in like generations of, it's very familial. It's just got to be really hard to be born into something like that and then make the choice to not be in it. It's a very loaded there's a lot going on, It's very different than being in LA, where it's just all heathens and all people that can have any type of stimulus, any type of show at any time.
Oh my God.
Can exist with no belief system. So when you say something, it's not really going to hit. Like I could feel, there's a lot of sex stuff in my act, and I've gotten to the point where I just think it's no big deal. And then in Utah, it's like, oh, you all haven't discussed any of this really ever. Aw.
I know.
I mean, there were so many people that weren't even single in the audience or dating.
We had basically, this is so crazy. You go to a comedy show, and especially in bigger cities, it is mostly young people, mostly people who are on dates or out with a bunch of friends in their 20s. And here we had one of the shows, I swear to you, there wasn't a person under 30 and everyone was married.
And this is what's interesting about it, because when we said, are you married, every time, and enthusiastic, when you say that in other cities, people are like, depressed.
Yes.
And so that's like the weird, that Mormonism,
kind of beautiful.
It builds up this sense of family.
Yes.
I so many kids at that coffee shop. It's like, yeah.
I realize that's such a great point, because what a pride they had in their families, and maybe there's something screwed up in there, but as somebody who's just an outsider, hearing a natural reaction from people excited to be married and have kids is really beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And those same people cheered for me.
Yes.
And my talking about dating and love.
And how exciting. I mean, I'll let you talk about it. I'm interrupting you, but I saw the space that you left and the time, because there's seconds in there where it's like, or how are they going to react? Even more than other places, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
And then when they do, it's like, oh, yeah, cool. I'm really bringing something to these people who are open.
And I see
listening.
you, and I think what it is treating people like humans and not seeing if you can see people even if they're in a different religion or different sexuality or whatever. And I know that that's a big problem with the Mormon Church, is that they are staunchly anti-homosexual, and so then therefore I'm sure very against me.
How incredibly brave of you, and what a testament to how you speak about yourself and your life in a very comedic way, but you're very personal and personable. You know what I mean? And you're letting them in as much as they're letting you in, because the way your stuff is structured, you don't just have like, here's my joke about that. Like you're letting it sort of be this fabric of you.
Yeah.
Which was also cool with, the new stuff and how you were working it in there, of how you start your set, and marrying what your past stuff with what's going on with you in the present moment, all that, to then also be feeling how they're reacting to you, and they can feel that you're there with them. You're not just doing by rote. You're not just going, so, I'm transgender and blah, 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 take it. Like they could, and that was like, that's so powerful, because you're showing up as like a whole person.
Yeah.
And that's what's so interesting about, like, so great about your comedy, and, that this can be done like this now. It's not, I don't know if I'm making a clear point.
No.
I just feel like stand-up is evolving, and you're like doing so much as a person to show up at places like that and further entertainment. Like you're super entertaining, but you're also like, yeah, this is me.
Yeah, I think the big thing with comedy, and I think we both do it, is that I think the longer you've been doing it and the more you're actually yourself on stage, the better it is. And I genuinely do root for people. So even when like the only thing I ever said about Mormons was, I think, the very last show, where I was talking to them about their undergarments, and I was like, I mean, look, I don't know how y'all feel about letting transgender people in, but I'd be in it for the onesies. and like at that point, I think you're at least relating to each other on a silly level that says like, I see you guys, you see me. And it was so much fun. And they also, I think when you have this area of like, you said it well, there's like a tension, think that they crave the freedom of comedy and stuff. So even when you went like, oh, I'm talking about some sex stuff, they were on board.
Yes.
And they loved it.
Well,
and
it was that one guy, I think it was the first show or the second show. I would think it was the first show, when he yelled out, I said, so this guy sent me a picture. It wasn't a dick pic, but it was. And the guy goes, his taint? Sir.
That's the worst bad word he gets to say.
Yeah, he's holding it in. And then, then there was like, I got to go back and listen to that. 6 to 10 minutes of me,
so funny.
Just loving that he blurted out
the
taint.
word taint.
And then it became about his taint and the size of his taint and what's on his vision board. That his taint was too big and it can't be covered up by the religious underwear. But
yeah,
what grown man?
I love it. And the other thing that's
yells out
interesting
taint
about the woo-woo thing of religion is I do think that it creates a sense of community.
Yes.
And also, I think because of that, they brought out more people. Like everyone came as groups, and there were like big groups that would come out. And I think that's like, well, you've had 12 kids, and so you're bringing
half of them. Gonna fill the room.
You're all siblings and stuff here. It was pretty electric, and
You're
I
all
know there must be
siblings.
some really bad stuff about the Mormon Church, but as a person who just came in, did a bunch of shows and left and dealt with Mormons and ex-Mormons, I loved Utah. I loved it. I'd move there.
Me too. I definitely was not being very studied about Mormonism. I was assuming the worst, I think rightfully so, and being like really maybe even downright catty about it at some points, and or like mocking of it. But then, the flip side is you guys have been through a lot. Good for you. Trying to believe in something.
Yeah.
I think I made a connection between the guy at the hotel telling me LA is fake, and it is, and then looking at them going, y'all real AF.
Yeah.
Like y'all born into a religion. This is the way. This is the light. Now have 8 kids before you're 22. Like
yeah.
that's a pile of garbage to be just
Yeah.
like, God bless, because that is
And all without coffee or alcohol.
no coffee, no alcohol. You're just and go.
Yeah.
That's a lot more real
my
than,
God.
I get to go explore, find out who I am, decide when I want to have kids.
I can't
It's
now.
a lot of expectation. It's a lot of pressure.
I'm sure a lot of people out there did lose their virginity sober, but I didn't, and I can't imagine having lost my virginity sober.
Did I?
It sounds Rob. I wish I had
Spandexman.com.
I just want to Rob reaction cam. There's so much of life that like I'm glad I'm sober now.
There does need to be a Rob reaction cam.
I'm glad I'm sober now, but there's so many firsts in my life that I'm glad I wasn't sober for. Even as a
That's
person
fair.
who's a recovered like alcoholic and all those things, I'm like, I'm glad I was drinking then.
Are Mormons? Yeah, they must be. Wait until marriage.
To what?
Oh yeah.
Have sex.
Oh, to have sex.
'Cause you're not
that's
drinking,
why
you're not
soaking
drinking
is a thing.
That's why.
Oh,
soaking,
yeah, soaking, which I talked about on stage.
Yeah, because we learned
You
about
just
it.
put it in.
And then
And
you,
you pretend like it's not
you
happening.
pay a friend to jump on the bed.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That is so sad.
Yep. And just lies there.
Like, it's so crazy how something so incredibly restrictive
I
is
know.
becomes so massive.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Anyway, Mormons, or who would rather not be called Mormons, what are they
Mhm.
called now?
The Church of Jesus Christ. So this is what a lady told
Oh,
us.
they're not the L.
She said, don't
DS
even say
anymore.
LDS. What they like to say, she said that because
You have
of
a good memory.
polygamy,
Yeah.
um,
Oh, they're
that-
separated themselves.
and a lot of
The
them
good Mormons, the
from the polygamous
Yeah.
Mormons, and a lot of them don't want to be called Mormons because of it, and so instead they'll say, "Are you Church of Jesus Christ?" Which I guess if you're only in Utah, that makes sense, but if you were somewhere else, I think everyone would be like, "Yeah, Jesus Christ is in my church." Like that's in every church. It's
Yeah.
in most churches.
yeah.
But
Oh, I just realized when I was on stage and I have in the new bit I'm working on, the guy that I was dating didn't believe in Black Santa. It's a whole other thing. But the end of that whole thing is me going, yeah, what if there was a black woman, Jesus?
yeah,
They did not love that so
they
much.
hated it.
They hated it.
They hated
Because
it.
I'm in my mind, and I should have known that they would hate it, but I'm like, because you give them the benefit of the doubt, because you're like, we're all intelligent here. Like, how
Yeah.
are you guys for real? You think it's like that white guy? Because usually my aside when I say that is like, I hate to break it to you, Jesus wasn't white, and that'll get a laugh.
And that gets a laugh.
because
But
everybody's
the
had
Mormons not on board with a not white Jesus. Oh my God. It
They have
was
the
like,
whitest Jesus.
yes.
they have the whitest Jesus,
They
and it's
do.
very, very real. And there's no sense of humor
There was
about
no-
that.
Yeah.
Their Jesus is literally American.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
He literally came to America.
Yeah.
That's why they're like the ultimate American religion.
Yeah. And they
'Cause
love the Constitution.
it's a multi-level marketing scam
Yeah.
that has an American Jesus.
Yeah.
Wait, how did Jesus come to America?
He just came
Yeah.
after he was resurrected.
He
came,
sailed to America.
sailed
Oh,
to
and that's
America.
what was told to what's his face?
Yeah,
Yeah, to Joseph Smith.
Oh.
through Moroni, the angel.
Oh.
He's a Mormon, we forgot.
I have multiple ex-Mormon friends who were
Woo.
raised Mormon,
Yeah.
and they have some wild stories.
Wow.
Of the Mormon Church.
Oh my God.
Sorry, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day
Jesus,
Saints.
Jesus Christ.
I know, we just said Mormon 800 times
Yeah,
during
we
this
did.
podcast.
We have a large Mormon fan base. A lot of woo-woo stuff that they're into.
a lot of microdosing.
They're really into water talk, which is very woo-woo right now. So,
What?
Water talk?
What
What's
is
water
that?
talk?
It's like people who drink, like, because they don't drink caffeine, right? So
Yeah.
they're like obsessed with sodas, though. Because they're not allowed to drink coffee or tea.
Right.
Oh, but
And
they can
different-
drink Cokes.
Well, they can drink.
Caffeine-free
depends.
certain ones.
So this is apparently a very controversial thing within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints,
Yeah.
where it's like it's like different sects will like say that you can drink soda because it's not coffee or tea. Others will say you can't have caffeine at all. That's what coffee or tea means.
Oh my God.
So some of them will have other drinks that are alternatives to
So
Coca-Cola.
so something's just hit me. I was wondering why Provo was all filled with ice cream shops, create your own fizzy soda shops,
Oh,
bakeries,
yeah.
and
So many
candy
bakeries.
shops.
That's what they have instead of bars.
Everything
instead
they
of,
have is
yes.
different types of sweets. And like when I saw that like bubbly fizzy soda place, I was like, how do you have a whole fizzy soda place? It was like one bakery after another.
They're all like sugar. Don't
Yeah.
stick your dick in it. Sugar, sugar. Do not stick your dick in that. Like,
Wow.
want to eat more sugar? That's not going to help.
That's amazing.
But so Water Talk is like a online community subculture. I don't know
Wow.
what you would call it, where they have different concoctions of like these like sugar-free syrups that they put in these
Oh my
giant
God.
jugs of water, and they make like unicorn water and
This sounds
mermaid water.
amazing.
We got to get.
For someone who's
We're
sober,
moving to Utah.
like I want mocktails all day long.
yeah.
That sounds amazing. They're just making cool mocktails. Look at this stuff. Okay. I think we really did it.
We really did it. Religion's a woo-woo. There, we said it.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Stick there.
And if you don't, you're wrong.
Yes. That's really expensive, though.
Skinny Syrups Fantasy Collection. $29 for how many?
Well, it's $30 for like a 3-pack, and like you use a tiny amount of this.
Oh,
that's
that's
the
the syrup.
This is the syrup,
I
yeah.
thought there was 3 bottles.
No, this is syrup. You put
one
a little.
syrup is mermaid, one syrup is cotton candy, and one syrup is unicorn.
I'll get 'em.
Oh. Well,
Mm,
I think, guys, write in.
yeah. Ooh, someone's trying to come in.
Oh.
The devil
someone's
trying to
in
take us for
trouble.
talking
They can hear
bad.
us. Well, this is amazing. Send us
Like, subscribe.
and send us an email to thatwhatyoudoo@gmail.com. I promise you 1,000%. Next episode, we will start always reading someone's email.
And we could kick. What happened? I'm possessed right now. We could kick off by starting.
We
that.
will.
That'll
We
be
will-
fun.
We'll kick off the next one with that one. So,
But yeah, write in. Tell us if you're religious, and
Mhm.
that is a tricky. I mean, obviously it's a big subject.
Is your religion woo woo or what?
Do you think people that believe they're just 100% all day?
Some people.
You know.
Some
What if you
people.
don't you have a few seconds a day where you're like, oh boy, I am
know.
lost.
I don't know.
That's
Some
a
people.
thing.
Some people. I think so.
Because they don't. Then in which case they don't think it's woo. It's truth.
Yes, they think it's true, and that's fascinating.
So let us know. Peace out.
That's it. That's the out. That's
Yes,
the out
it
right there.
So
The
good.
fucking no more.
We know that life is shit and we can all get so fed up with it. It may be weird, but hey, it works for you. Go on and pour some Kool-Aid for 2 and tell us what's the woo that you do.